As you know, it's been a while since I produced a motorhome or Prevost-related video, but with that said, and considering what's going on in the world these days, I thought I would come out of retirement and jump in with both feet. This is part one of a three-part video series that I'm calling What You Need to Know Before Buying a Motorhome. While this series is centered around Prevost motorhomes, much of the discussion is applicable to Class A models as well. Allow me to note, this is not a commercial, and no payments in any way, shape, or form were made to me for the production of this video. Here's a list of topics that are included in this video. Now, if you haven't already done so, please take a moment to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so that you'll be notified when the next chapter of this series is released. One more thing, if you like this video and you want me to do more on this topic, please click the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. With that said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. While many businesses are suffering due to the coronavirus pandemic, the RV and motorhome industry is experiencing a surge. To discuss the reasons behind this surge and to provide information on what you need to know before buying your first motorhome, from Scottsdale, Arizona, I'm joined by Steve Zeigler, the Director of Bus Sales at Prevost, and from Beverly Hills, Florida, here's Gil Johnson, the Administrator of the Prevost Owners Group website, Facebook group, and noted motorhome inspector and buyer's representative. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. Steve, I know you're in Scottsdale, Arizona. I know it's hot. I'm glad you're indoors, so I'll start with you. Since you're one of the few people in the country who communicate on every level of this industry, what are you seeing at motorhome dealerships today?
Oh, Andy, well, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to get together with you and Gil. Well, we're just seeing really a boom in the RV world in general, the RV lifestyle. And I think because of what we're going through with the COVID-19 issues right now, no international travel, very similar to the pattern we saw in the months right after 9/11. The international travel was set down, so people very much became internally thoughtful on travels within North America. What are they going to do this summer? And it's obvious that, the RV lifestyle, we have such a wonderful park system, camping system set up, and people can really explore, throughout all of North America, but primarily we're talking about US and Canada right now. And so we're seeing the calls just over the top. You're seeing it in the Class A industry. Everything is selling at RV dealers. And of course, we're at the pinnacle with the Prevost motorhome market. And so we're seeing that funnel up. I call it funnel up to us. And our motorhome manufacturers are really receiving a lot of calls here the last month, and their sales have just continued right through this whole crisis.
For those who may not understand the inherent benefits of traveling by motorhome, let me sum it up like this. As we know, due to COVID-19, we're living in a really strange world. While many of us are just tired of staying home and would like to travel, well, for the most part, we have no desire to fly on an airplane or stay in a hotel at this time. What a motorhome provides is simply a house on wheels. You have your own bed, your own bathroom, a kitchen, and on many units you also have a washer-dryer, a dishwasher, an outdoor barbecue grill, and an entertainment center, as well as the option of a satellite TV receiver. And with Wi-Fi hotspots these days, you can stay connected just about anywhere. When traveling in a motorhome, while you can make your own electricity with an onboard generator, you only need to plan for fuel, the addition of fresh water, and of course, to properly dispense the dirty water accumulated in the tanks. Simply stated, while we know that campgrounds will be crowded at least this season, a motorhome gives you the luxury of traveling at your own pace. Gil, since you're on the front lines, I'll ask if this virus had made motorhomes the cure for the pent-up demand for travel, and as many news outlets have reported, has this caused a surge in motorhome and RV sales?
Well, I think the first thing we're seeing is that there's an upturn in people wanting to get into the RV world, just like Steve mentioned. There's a couple of additional things beyond limitations on traveling internationally. The cruise industry, as we know, has pretty much collapsed at this point. Even the theme parks are hard to get into. I think because of this whole pandemic, we're seeing a tighter family unit, one that wants to do things together. They don't need to be entertained at a theme park. I think that's another thing that's really driving this part of the industry. And then we've got a new buyer. one we didn't have before. In fact, I just helped a client that just closed on a brand new marathon. Now, this may be a little extreme, but we've got business owners out there that have, in this particular case, this gentleman has 30-some facilities across the U.S. He tends to spend a week or two at them at each one of them. So for this buyer, and he's not unique, is that they don't want to fly, they don't want to stay in a hotel. For those kind of individuals, this is a new marketplace. The dealers themselves, swamped. So they're selling more than I've seen them sell in a long time. I did 2 inspections last week. I've got 2 this week. It's busy times out there right now. There's a lot of people trying to get into it, and it's across all price ranges. So the impact that I thought might have happened at the lower end, where people have expended a lot of their savings just to get through this, I'm seeing whether it's a $150,000 Prevost or it's a $1 million Prevost. That entire market, there's a surge at this point.
A new buyer walking into a dealer today, what should they know about inventory levels?
I think I can speak to that. We just finished our monthly inventory. We pull all of the Prevost specific dealers, and inventory levels on pre-owned are about what they were going pre-COVID, but we're getting some turnover there, and we do see a little bit of a dwindling in that, which is fairly normal this time of year. Gil can attest to that. I think as we move into the summer months, that's when we're kind of in our peak buying season, kind of moving into the summertime, and so we're seeing inventories drop a little bit. As far as new, that stays stable pretty much throughout the year. About 50% are custom build on the Prevost platform, and then 50% are spec units that are sold just to customers that are not going to order a unit.
Gil, same question. What are you seeing at dealer level?
Well, I tend to agree with Steve there that the inventory levels haven't fluctuated a lot over time, but the turnover rate has. So thankfully, there's units out there becoming available on the wholesale market for the independent dealers. As far as new units, as Steve points out, that's pretty much a given. So the number of trades coming in hasn't changed a lot. But I will say that the churn or the turnover rate appears to be much greater than it had been in months or even this time last year, to kind of peg it to the same season.
Steve, it's hard to believe. It's been more than 3 years since you and I first met at a motorhome rally. I just purchased a pre-owned Prevost. I knew I wanted to start my Prevost for Newbie series. I figured you would be a great person to start. You agreed to sit down with me. We did an interview on whether or not a potential motorhome buyer, should they look at a new Class A or pre-owned Prevost? Can you go in and sum up what we came to in that video?
Yeah, I'll speak to that, but I'm really going to turn it over to Gil because that's his world every day. We're building new shells. I'm 100% focused, or 90% focused on the new market, because we're looking at grabbing people to get into the Prevost world. The converters are really focused on the pre-owned, and we're there to support them. My encouragement to people is find a Prevost that works for you. If you're looking for a new Class A, let's get with a guy like Gil. Let him educate you a little bit. Buy that pre-owned that you think is going to work for you. Understand the lifestyle, your investment. And for me, it becomes I'm trying to help the person from an investment perspective. You can go buy a $800,000 new one. You can go buy a $900,000 pre-owned Prevost, and you're not going to take a big hit like you would on that new when you go to trade it in a couple years after you really understand the lifestyle and get in it. On the Class A, we all know that market, their values don't tend to hold like they do on a Prevost, especially when you get into the pre-owned. Again, I'll let Gil speak to that because that's really the world he's dealing with every day, and he'll be able to speak to the value proposition there.
Yeah, certainly value is a big part of this, and obviously the depreciation on a Prevost is going to be far less, both on the initial ramp down that we see on any new pick whatever product it is, but beyond that, that slope becomes much more gradual. More important than that, or equally as important, is that you don't come to a waterfall at the end. How many 10-year-old Class A motorhomes are out there that are still something that someone would want to drive? So they were built for intended purpose. Nothing wrong with that. It's just the life cycle of a Prevost is going to be much, much longer. So we've got a couple of things for the new buyer that's out there. If they come from the RV world, they have one like and one dislike or misconception when it comes to looking at a Prevost, is that they're used to a vehicle at 100,000 miles. It's pretty much done. the rattles in it, the water leaks, just there's too many things going on. And I'm not going to say they're all like that, but let's just stereotype, and we'll do the same stereotype on a Prevost. It's not only is it operational, it's reliable, and oh, by the way, the manufacturer's still supplying parts to it. So we get that concept that we have to get through to those that are used to the traditional RV. But I'll tell you, in the last few years, the RV market has boomed to the extent that the manufacturers have faced a real challenge. They could either produce quality or quantity, and they could never figure out how to get the two of them in sync. So the RVs that have been built over the last several years, frankly, and I don't care who they are, their quality has gone down. I don't really want to throw them under the bus, so to speak, but hey, we're driving a bus, we might as well put them under there, right? So we got that we got to get past the mileage thing. If safety is important, then there's no decision, there's no discussion. It's case is closed. You're going to drive a Prevost. So I've got plenty of clients that this is their first RV, and they really love their kids. They love their, everything about their family, and they just soon have them there tomorrow. And it doesn't take much of a search on YouTube to look at RV accidents to find out the most minor of accidents people aren't walking away from in a traditional motorhome. We never want to think about an accident, but at the end of the day, the potential's there. But you got some people that they're going to make 2 trips a year. They're going to park the coach somewhere for 6 months. They're going to move it once, and they're going to live in it for another 6 months. They might be candidates for a traditional RV. If they can get through the service issues, that's fine. So I'm not going to say a Prevost is the right coach for everybody, but it's the right coach for most everybody.
Steve, can you take a moment to discuss the differences between the construction of a Prevost chassis and one found on a typical Class A motorhome? Now, I don't mean to leave you hanging, but that question and many more will be answered in part 2 of this series. Now, depending on when you're watching this video, in a moment, either a link will be posted to part 2 of this series or you'll see a coming soon graphic. Now, remember, the easiest way to keep posting my new videos is to simply follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/thegadgetguru. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell so that you'll be notified when a new video has been posted. One more thing, if you like this video, you'll surely like this one. And if you like that one, you're going to like one of these. That's it for now. I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr.